Okay guys, hi, welcome back. So I found a problem with our previous script. Um, After a little fiddling around, I realized that, remember how I tell you guys to import time? And this is kind of important. You'll see why. So previously we loaded this page, and the minute the page loaded, we were looking for these elements and this pattern, and we only found 5 phone numbers. But if you give 8 seconds extra loading time, 10, 5, whatever you think, depending on your connection speed, after the page loads, give a couple more seconds so it really truly fully loads, then you see your target list become something completely different. All right, so let's run this one more time. So I guess this is going to be a 4-part tutorial to this. Run this, right? Chrome, Windows up, log in. Authorize again, bring back to the phone page, book page. Here we hit continue again, and now it's waiting for 8 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there we go. So here we have 125 lines. So found a whole bunch of numbers now. Loads more than last time. This is what we want, okay? So great, we got that. Shut this process off, shut this window off. So you need to add time.sleep right after the second driver get, okay? So insert a number. I just use 8 for this video. So we can move on to the next step. Next step is target total equals length of target lists minus 1. Okay, so so target total, I believe it's 125. The reason we'll have the minus 1 is because on a list element of Python, I think I have the example here, test list. If I run this file, it basically runs a loop from x in range of 10 times. As you can see, when it runs the loop, it's not 1 to 10, it's actually 0 to 9. So the 0th element will be the first element on that list, but so the first element on the list should be 0, not 1, right? So it's always whatever the total is minus 1. That's how the lists are counted. They're counting from position 0, not position 1. So a 0 will give you the first element of that list is 0. All right. If I put the first element of that list, which is in this case the second, it will give us number 1 in this case. Because if I give you the 10th element of this list, it's going to crash. It's going to be out of index. So without going too much into how Python list works, just believe me, you need a total target list length of that minus 1, so we don't get out of index range. But you know, even without the minus 1, it will still work, but there's a chance of crash. All right, so we now move on to the total call number. This is just a variable. You can assign to whatever you want. I'm gonna just put a 500 for now. You can make that 1,000, 2, 3, whatever you want. Okay. So we'll just use for 500. That's the number, and then we're gonna do another for loop for x in range of total call. We are going to get a random target. Once again, these variables, you can name them whatever you want. X, I'm just throwing X, and you can name this Y, you can name this each, you can name some item, you can name it whatever you want. Random target, once again, it's just whatever I come up with, okay? So this, it's not set in stones. So random integer between what, 0 and target total. So That way, you want to make sure this is not out of range. Random visit, which means we're selecting a random URL to visit, goes target list. So the entire target list, and we're visiting which one? Random target. So here it's selecting a number. Let's say this list was 125, right? So we minus 1 become 124. So we're looking for a number between 0 and 124 every time this loop is ran. So let's say the first time the loop is ran, the number came out to be 61. The random target in this case would be 61. And then the URL random visit in this case is take the 61th position of this list, of target list, whatever that URL is. I hope that makes sense. If not, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll try to explain and help you guys out. All right, last thing we're gonna randomize is random weight. Another random int between 10 and 20. So here it's gonna throw a random wait time between 10 and 20. Pick a number every time this loop is ran. It's a different number. So the first time maybe 15, second time maybe 19, right? So, and then driver.get what? Random visit. So we're looking for that URL. Get to that URL, and we're gonna sleep random wait time. So every time it's not exactly 10 seconds, every time it's slightly different. And lastly, we're gonna print, I have called Ventrotes. X, variable X, cool. All right, and that's the end of the script, guys. Oh, sorry, take this, we don't need that out of here. How many lines is this? Let's say, go to line, that's 36 lines. 35, there you go, 35 lines. So if we run this right now, what's going to happen is brings up a Chrome, asks you to log in. Once again, logging manually. We can touch on the automated login in the future. There's a lot more stuff you can do, guys. You can add AI to it. You can connect a chatbot to it. You can play random noises back to the scammers. I mean, you can do a lot of things. Some of them pretty funny. So hit a key to continue. Now scraping all numbers. Give it a second. We give it an 8-second wait time. So 8 seconds later, this list will pop up. In this case, 164 lines. Because amount of numbers on BulbRTC always changes. Oh, sorry, forgot to mention one more thing. After you log into, before you're dialing anything, BulbRTC is asking for you to connect your microphone and make sure you allow that, okay? So hit allow. Right. So here we go, it's calling. Squeeze how many lines? 164. 164 in total. Okay, so we called our first number. It hung up. And we'll randomly wait between 10 and whatever amount of seconds. I didn't print that number out, so I'm just guessing here, right? So maybe one call so far is connecting. The reason we're throwing a random number between 10 and 20 seconds is because it takes sometimes 5 to 8 seconds to connect. So if you throw a random number between 2 and 8, for example, you haven't even connect before the next number are called out. So the longer this wait is, it's better to guarantee you're connected. But once again, we can play with this. There's a more advanced version I can show you guys in the future, but this one here just does the basic dialing and move on to the next number, call, move on to the next number, call, move on to the next number. You can, increase the random wait to 30 seconds long. In that case, a lot of times the scammers will actually say something.
Quote Wizard. We are currently closed. Please press 1 to leave a message for...
See, for that. There's a lot of automated answering services from them, and I can show you guys how to auto dial some of the numbers on the keypad. So that way, You know, because they keep changing press 1, press 3, press 6, press 8, whatever the case may be, and we can get around that. And once we get around that, I mean, you know, and we do this en masse, it's going to be dangerous.
Available to take your call at this time.
So in this case, as you guys can see, we've called 8 benchos so far in the span of 2 minutes, maybe. All right, so I will leave this window running and show you the total, the code. Make sure you're all caught up. Right, so like I said, the next time I run this, maybe I should throw this number between 15 to 30 seconds, guarantees a longer runtime. And you know, this number here, we're just making this loop 500 times. You can make this 5,000 times or 50,000 times. That's up to you. I recommend a couple of hundred to begin with to get you to understand how this flow works, and when you're adding more advanced features to this, we can increase the call total. Okay, so here's all the codes. I'm gonna leave on the screen for as long as possible, and maybe I will throw on a GitHub or something for you guys as well. So that's it. That's your basic auto dialer working with Bob RTC. And I hope you guys have fun and call scammers with your own computer. You can even set this up to with Windows Scheduler to run this task automatically. And every day you can set the script run from 9 o'clock in the morning to whatever, running whatever amount of loops.
There was an error connecting your call.
As
Error
you can imagine, the scammers are pretty pissed off on the other side of the call. Okay, so that's it. That concludes our quick tutorial of the basic auto dialer. And if you guys are interested in this kind of stuff,
There was an error connecting your call. Error route does not exist.
Leave a comment below, like the video. I might in the future introduce you to a couple more advanced topics on this. Okay, so once again, thank you very much for watching, and have fun dialing scammers.
There was an error connecting your call. Error route